It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. With me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght and Moose Jaw. Shawn, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks, Gary.
Great. I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. Well, I know that Shawn and I are distracted here as being the Canadians here and, game 6 of the baseball and stuff, but we appreciate you all being with us. And the important part of the game, don't be away for that one too. Don't worry. We got a great show for you tonight. I got Eddie Renaud with me, and he's going to be discussing his life in lacrosse to this point and in future. As well as we're going to talk CBA. We're going to talk some unrestricted free agents and things like that. And it's going to be a busy show. So stay tuned. But just before we get rolling, just a reminder to everybody that we are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, also Instagram Live, as well as we are on Spotify. Remember, hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of the affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network, like Fly Like an Eagle, soccer, football shows, CFL shows, combat shows, cinema shows, etc. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all of the shows up on one of the Streampunk YouTube pages, which include, of course, Streampunk Cinema on YouTube, Streampunk Combat on YouTube, etc. And if you come into All Lacrosse All the Time on YouTube, please share. Please tell your friends. Tell everybody about us. You will come across also our library of shows, interviews, press conferences, fights, as well as a library of retro games. So lots in there, more coming all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also a reminder, our show is brought to you by 60. More than just a number, 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflect the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and excellence sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Also add Lax Talk 10 to any of your orders to receive a 10% discount on your order. How do you get there? First off, you can use the QR code in the center of our screen. Nextly, you can go and hit Instagram and sweet_60. Have a look at all the stuff that Jim is doing with his group. You can email them at info.sweet60@gmail.com or go directly onto their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. Well, without further ado, why don't I bring our guest on with us? Eddie Renaud is known well for his exploits over in the Arena Lacrosse League, as well as the Ontario Series Lacrosse, also with Major Series Lacrosse. He had a great time out in Prague as well with the Green Gales. So let's bring Eddie on and talk with us.
Hi,
hey, great to see you, man.
Hey, good to see everybody.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
It's been a busy summer. You guys have been, you've been lighting it up on both sides, right? MSL, OSL, all kinds of things going on. Eh?
I mean, it's lacrosse. That's everybody's dream, is to play as much as possible when you're involved with such a wonderful game.
Absolutely. Let's start from the beginning. How did you pick up the stick? What made you pick up a stick?
I have an older brother who's 6 years older than me, so quite the age gap. But Curtis, my brother, played hockey and lacrosse growing up. So when I kind of joined the picture, I had a lacrosse stick, hockey stick in my crib growing up. As soon as I could hold a lacrosse stick, I was able to hold one. I was dragged around the rink to watch him play and everywhere else before I could even start joining a league for my own age, because I was so young. So I would like to say that I had a stick in my hands before I could even remember. I couldn't even give you a date, but when I was a baby.
Right. What kept the stick in your hands?
Oh, the love of the game. There's no other game like it. How it has the violence, the skill, the athletic ability, with also the intelligence. It's kind of a sport where you kind of have to be in the moment, shut down your brain, and just let lacrosse come to you. And there's few other sports that is able to have that happen.
Right. Who was your early role model? Who got you in the right direction?
Well, I'll follow the trend of my brother. Easily my favorite player growing up, mostly because I was at the arena watching every single one of his games. He had a pretty good lacrosse career. He went to Morrisville State, which is Division II for lacrosse.
Right.
But it was an ongoing joke in the family that he was the better hockey player and I was the better lacrosse player. So he went down the hockey path. I switched into the lacrosse path.
Right. Now, through school, in high school, you went to Waterdown District High School, and you're playing there. Let's talk about that, Coach Paul Hanley. Let's talk about the program and your development there.
Yeah. So Paul Hanley was the gym teacher. He started a hockey program. He was also coach of the varsity hockey team. I was fortunate enough to join the hockey team in grade 9, playing varsity at a high level. So got to spend a lot of time with him. As I moved through the high school, we decided to make hockey a legitimate class, or a class that you can take in high school. So we started doing a hockey program. So every Tuesday and Thursday during the semester, we would bus a bunch of kids to the local hockey rink. And I'm grade 11, grade 12 at the time, and I'm helping teach the grade 9 class development for hockey. Kind of a more recent news is the school is opening up a lacrosse program, or trying to. So they've reached out to me and asked if I could be one of their coaches. Nice. For this upcoming season, if we're able to get enough interest. So I have been kind of going to the school as of recently and promoting and coaching lacrosse to the local kids there as of this year.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
What a great full circle that is. Huh?
Great.
Yeah.
Now, you got to explain to me the NSCLA club, and with Nick Bond and the traveling group there when you're starting to play.
Nick Bond, just a father volunteer to the lacrosse community, as many people are. The game was still growing. It's still always growing. So getting coaching and staff, all levels, especially that lower age level, you find a lot of parents jumping in. So Nick Bond was a volunteer that stepped in and stepped into a lacrosse program. Huge influence in my life growing up, being coach of the Burlington Chiefs at the time for minor, but now the Burlington Blaze, and being able to just get out and play as much lacrosse in different little areas, getting new competition. Something that everybody kind of notices when you're playing minor lacrosse is you kind of stuck it within your own zone, and you only get the small moments of tournaments or provincials where you get to reach out and play against other centers. So it's always enjoyable when we can come out and play against other areas of lacrosse other than for myself, it was Zone 9.
Right. Now, you mentioned Burlington Chiefs, and you started your minor lacrosse with them. Let's talk about that. And, you've done your field stuff, now heading into box. And I guess the true love found it, and you had hands right away. So let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, so I played Burlington Chiefs lacrosse, Burlington Blaze now. Growing up all through my minors, from Tyke, House League, all the way up to my major midget year. I'm personally one of the few players from my age group from that team that still gets the ability to play. A notable name would be Brent Noseworthy. Mm-hmm. We grew up playing each other every other year. He's a year younger than me. But yeah, of that whole program, everybody's kind of like moved on from the game, but me and Brent had found a way to stay within it.
That's awesome. Now you moved up into Oakville Buzz, and you were starting to set records in there. You really found your niche. Let's talk about the Buzz, and let's talk about going into track and all the fun stuff that came along with that.
Huge transformation. Going from the Burlington Chiefs, which mostly had parent coaches, volunteers being around the program, just trying to do the best they can from YouTube and Google to learn and teach the game and then teach us, to eventually graduating into a junior role where now you're surrounded by real coaches like Shawn and Ken Gillies, who was involved with the Buzz at the time, Cam Watts, Ben Need was a player volunteer, Mike Mentavalia was the head coach of the Buzz at the time. That first year of junior, unbelievable learning curve for me. I think that was the first time I ever knew what a pick and roll was. So 16, 17 years old, I'm just like, wow, I'm finally learning the fundamentals of the game where I can figure this out.
Right. It's funny. I had Shawn on the show a couple of weeks ago. It was great talking with him about all the exploits and everything, and building all these programs and moving along, and his experts with exploit with lacrossing barriers and bringing a whole new realm to people who are not usually having the ability or having the option to do it. So it's amazing when I'm listening to all the exploits and just the knowledge that comes out, and his passion.
Of course, such a small community that as you get older, as there become fewer and fewer leagues, the same players kind of reoccur every year. You tend to meet and make the connections with everybody in the community from all over, and it's truly blessed that lacrosse can be like that.
Right. Now you head off into college. You go to Pfeiffer University, D3, and out in North Carolina of all things. And what was your reasoning, your choices to head out there?
Well, at the time, Pfeiffer University was Division II.
Okay.
So I went down there. We had Jason Lang was the head coach who's recruited me. A notable name like Mike Triolo was on the team. He was a senior year where I was coming in as a freshman. So I got to play a year with him there. About a year and a half into attending the school, the school made an announcement that they were going to switch divisions into Division III, which left me in a difficult choice of the games and years that I would have left to play wouldn't have led to a title or any conference championships, because you wouldn't be able to compete with athletic scholarship players against programs that didn't have any athletic scholarship players in Division II. So at the time, they opened up the ability for us to enter the transfer portal, and then I made the decision to transfer into Lake Erie College, Paynesville, Ohio.
Right. Let's talk about that a little bit. The program itself and how you adjusted in there.
Well, the first real adjustment was the weather. Going from Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm sweating every night because of the heat, practices, you got to make sure you have 3 liters of water. You have the athletic trainers making sure the Canadians on the bench were well hydrated for how climate change we were, to going to basically Cleveland, Ohio, very snowy state, right by Lake Erie, to having to earn every practice, battle everything, because the weather would drop 3-4 inches of snow on our turf. And then we would be out there with shovels, shoveling away at the turf before we could practice.
Good cardio workout. Never mind, good cardio.
Yeah. But the program itself was a wonderful experience. Keegan Ball is a notable name that went there, who's tearing up in the NLL. So being able to join a program at that level and playing against some of the northern teams after being exposed to the southern more conferences, huge transformation. The talent difference was quite dramatic, and it was I can't speak more highly of it.
Right.
Whenever I'm around the high school kids age level, if I'm coaching, I'm just like, everybody needs to go to the States to play school lacrosse. There's nothing like it.
Right. Was it difficult to get away from box and play by feel and be more blueprinted in the field game?
Yeah. So, I mean, lacrosse, box lacrosse in Canada, I mean, we all like to follow kind of a script, maybe some plays, some fundamental X and O's, but everybody knows that the defense breaks that down real quick, and you kind of have to be creative out there and make your own magic when it comes to playing the game. Switching to field lacrosse in the States, it being more of a structured kind of X's and O's kind of format, it's kind of difficult trying to find that fine line between, is this okay to be creative, drive the net, try to get that scoring opportunity, or do I stick within the X's and O's and follow the script to see kind of how it plays out? It's kind of two different universes, and when you find that commonality between how the Americans play so structured and the creative chaos that is Canadian lacrosse, you can get some pretty fun lacrosse playing.
Okay. What kind of moments still stick with you from being in Erie and also Pfeiffer? Like,
So when I joined Pfeiffer, my first season, not heading into my first season, my very first year. So it's a spring sport. So you kind of have 6 months of practices before you get to play in a real game. I was not even the top 3 attackmen during that year, my freshman year. So I wasn't expecting to have the opportunity to play. I was going to be an alternate. Heading into the second semester, a player had an individual choice of leaving the program. So I got stepped into that third man role attackman. And it was Mike Triolo and Paulus on the right side. But so I'm thrown in here, and I wasn't even expected to play. And I started off the game against Florida Southern with 8 points, with 5 goals, 3 assists. And it was like the opportunity where it was no longer just X's and O's in practice, but I got to showcase my creativity on the floor playing lacrosse. And then having that choice really opened up the team, the organization, to allow me to be a full-time lacrosse player on the roster as being a designated one of the 3 attackmen.
Right. Now you come back in here, and we're talking about Ontario Series Lacrosse. And in Senior B, you're with the Oakville Titans, and I love that team. Remember the Titans? It's Sean Ferris's favorite line on that thing. But you had some great coaches between Ferris himself, a couple of the other guys. It was really a great team, and just missed. Let's talk about the Titans.
Yeah. So Frank Lewinsky, great, one of the head coaches in the Oakville Titans when I was on the program. Josh Briscoe was the GM at the time. He was the one that got me into the organization. Let me backpedal a little bit. So some internal drama is I actually live in Hamilton. I lived in Hamilton my whole life. So I got grandfathered into playing Burlington because my brother played for Burlington. Okay. So in order to play Junior B in Oakville, the Burlington Chiefs Junior A team had to draft me. So I got drafted by the Junior A crossing so that Oakville could get me because they didn't want me playing for Hamilton. Let's skip a few years. The Oakville Titans are talking to me like, oh, we're really excited for you to graduate from junior into senior and play for us. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm so excited too. And then a few weeks before the draft starts, I get a phone call saying, yeah, you don't belong to Oakville whatsoever. And technically you're Hamilton's, right? Because that's where you live. So I would have had to play for Hamilton Bengals or travel to Six Nations for, say, senior ball there. Basically, the Oakville Rock had to draft me to the MSL for the Oakville Titans to own my rights. So it was kind of like wild. Playing for the Oakville Titans, they're by far a wonderful organization. The guys are still great. I still hold friendships from players that I played on that team with, such as Craig Wendy. Saw him this past weekend, but that's been 7-8 year long friendship now just from playing for the Oakville Titans.
He sent me a picture just to make sure that you would remember him, and there you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh well, I'm glad
he was on the show a couple of weeks back also, and it was a great catching up with him as well. Good to see that he's on the mend. So
yeah, no, he's a great guy. I appreciate calling him my friend.
Yeah. You're never going to find a harder worker than Greg Wendy. He found every way possible to make it and used every asset available to him. Talk about working, because Bob McMahon was also on the bench there, offensive coach. Talk about playing under Bob and all the years of experience that he had.
Again, culture shock almost, because it's like he had such experience and knowledge of the offensive lacrosse game, and to have someone with that kind of expertise just kind of step into a role where now he's kind of your mentor or influencer at every practice, teaching you how to do operations. It went from, hey, this is how you do a pick and roll, to this is the structure of offense, the flow of the game, and here's what the defense is trying to do. So here's what we're trying to do. to offset that. And then seeing kind of behind the curtain there of his NLL experience in all of his years, you really start to find the fundamental game of lacrosse kind of within it. So Bobby Mann being a coach there, there's still instances where I'm playing and I'm trying to teach other players that I'm playing with, like, these are the motions that create this opportunity. It's not just a pick and roll and creating that offense. It's the whole flow and the motion of the game. So
Right.
He's a huge influence on the offense, just opening up and just finding the internal experiences that only that many years of experience can really teach someone.
Right. And really had the room was great. You guys were so tight knit, and like I say, there was, you really should have been in the President's Cup that year. There's just it was a heartbreak in the playoffs there with Six Nations that just.
Yeah. Froze a little bit there.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I think
Rogers and I, we don't get along.
Oh, good. Oakville Titans always a very competitive team, making Ontario finals several years in a row. But Six Nations Rivermen, like, they find a way. They'll find players. They'll find a weakness within your team. They'll battle. I've been battling against them, those individuals, for so long that sometimes I feel like they target me a little bit just from years of going at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they want it. They want to win every game, and you got to earn every win. So playing against them is always a calendar marked for me. Sometimes I joke around. I've played against Six Nations more times than some of these rookies have played games in this league. Like, it's always a fun experience.
Right. It's funny, though, because that year there's a little bit of controversy because I think that was the year of the brawl with Owen Sound. And there were a bunch of guys that shouldn't have been playing that were playing. And they brought in, of all things, Zed Williams, Senior B. This was before we had the MSL year a couple of years ago. And this was wild because Zed even then was just like playing against a cannon.
Yeah. I try to stay out of the bureaucracy, the political group that is lacrosse, because it's on at every level.
Yeah.
I kind of just focus on my own game and just showing up and playing the rink. But transitioning from playing the Rivermen with their normal roster and then come playoffs, they have Zed Williams on their floor. Definitely a privilege watching him play. Is one thing watching him on TV, and there's another thing playing against him. And I'm an offensive player, so you better believe I got myself to the bench so I wouldn't have to play defense against him. It was game 5, and I think we were up by 3 or 4 goals, and we were feeling quite comfortable heading into like the last 10 minutes of the game. And then Zed Williams just decided, yeah, I kind of want to play more lacrosse. So he ended up going on a little bit of a scoring streak, and then they ended up sneaking the win away at the last 30 seconds of the game off of a goal he scored. And next thing you know, he's going to Presidents, and I'm now on vacation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big influence on the game.
Now, you spent a lot of time playing out west. How did you wind up with Brooklyn?
So there was kind of a situation between the Oakville Rock, the Oakville Titans, MSL, with if they're going to have a team, their league. It ultimately ended up being that the Oakville Rock took over the Senior B rights of the Oakville Titans, and they pulled themselves out of the MSL to bring their MSL team down to Senior B. Mm-hmm. And then a tight-knit organization, as talented as players are, they wanted to keep their team the way that it is, the same way that they've been playing years with each other. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the Oakville Titans players, actually all of us, got pushed out right at the beginning of the season. So I was thinking, okay, I'm 25, 26 years old now. Maybe it's starting to look like retirement. and I spent that whole year off. I didn't play lacrosse at all. And then Clancy Ames, I've heard of the name at the time, very big influence in lacrosse, reaches out to me and says, hey, I know that you're kind of retired, but come out to a Merchants lacrosse game and we need some players. We just love to have you out for a couple of games if you can do that for us. And I'm fighting him the whole way. I'm like, oh no, I'm done. I'm done. Leave me out of it. I can't do it anymore. My body's falling apart. He's like, no, just come out for a couple of games. We need you. Just if you don't want to do it no more, you don't have to do it. And then as soon as I touch the floor, I'm like, I'm hooked. I can't. I'm done. I'm fully locked in.
Mhm.
So Clancy, the years that I've known him now, huge influence in my life. I can't speak enough about how his character is, how smart he is, lacrosse the game. My last 3 years of lacrosse is completely and utterly because of his decision to drag me out of retirement, and I will always be grateful for that. And I can't dedicate enough kind words to him and that for that reason and everything else for me.
Right. The last couple of years, it's been really a privilege to watch you guys because watching you guys grow together and watching that room just hone itself and to culminate this year with, I think the best performances you guys had was in the OSL playoffs this year, even though you had a great year altogether. But everybody was on the same page. Everybody did whatever it took. Everybody did all the little things and didn't fall into the traps like you would opt to do in years past against Six Nations and fight back and take stupid penalties. And in the playoff games, you let them take all the dumb penalties and you just capitalize one after another, and it just kept pouring salt into the wound, and they take more stupid penalties. You guys would capitalize again. But watching everybody and watching you guys celebrate afterwards, and it was a team thing. It wasn't a one guy did this, one guy's over here. Everybody did everything together. And to me, that was really an epitome of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. It was a long time coming. It's something that we all dream about. We all fight for. Some of us have achieved that goal. Some of us haven't. So you got the leadership on the team versus the young guys that are still trying to make a name for themselves. And all year, we're just adding new individuals, finding in new opportunities for players to fill roles that we needed to have. And going into the OSL playoffs, we finally kind of had the team that we were building all year, and had that connection of like, these are the guys we're going to go to battle with. This is our family now. Let's lock in and achieve the goal. And that's what we're doing. We're focused on one opportunity, and that was to win the OSL finals.
Right. And, you ramped that right up into the President's Cup, and being at home, it was important that you guys were there because, taking in everything and being in your home floor, you guys just ramped it up in there as well. Had some terrific games during that tournament.
Yeah. I mean, again, lacrosse is such a small community. You tend to play against the same players, same teams all the time. So finally getting an opportunity to hit or shoot on someone that you're not normally shooting or hitting against is always just so exciting. The team came together. We had a hell of a tournament leading up to the finals. Unfortunately, we fell short, but that's kind of what happens when you face kind of like a one-game elimination kind of style tournament. It could be anybody's game, any bounce, any opportunity. One goalie stands on his head. One player has a fantastic game, and then that game completely changes.
Yeah. Damoud stood on his head, and he was the MVP of the tournament. Yeah. But they had a great game plan. They kept you guys to the outside and really took away a lot of the weapons of guys like you, Parker, and all the things you guys do inside, and really kept you to the outside so Nick could see all the shots.
Yeah, it's a battle of a tournament. Playing that many games in that few days at the skill level that it is, and there's no easy wins. Every team there, every province is sending out, every league sending their best guys, their best team. So, every time you step on the floor, you got to be at 100%. You got to battle. You got to want it. And coming to the end, it's like we were punching as hard as we could. We were trying to find our opportunities, and they just weren't sinking for us, right? It could be a different series if it was maybe best of 7 like the Blue Jays are going right now. But unfortunately, it's a one-game elimination, and they found the way to win, and we couldn't figure it out in time.
Right. You make it up to the MSL, and now you're the pinnacle of summer box, and playing with Brooklyn. Had a couple of games the year before. I think you got into 9 this summer. Let's talk about it now. And you've been in with, well, the big boys. Now you're with the NLL guys. Talk about the difference in movement, the difference in everything, the culture shock.
I mean, I've been playing senior B lacrosse for a very long time. And to finally have the opportunity to step into a position and play MSL lacrosse and kind of showcase myself as well as play against some of the best players in the world of lacrosse, incredible experience. I took it one game at a time, thinking, hey, they needed a player. I'm happy to drive out to wherever to have an opportunity to play. And after that first game, kind of proving myself that I can keep up with the skill level, the conditioning, the education of the game, the skill level, I kind of earned the respect of the coaching staff, some of the players who allowed me to keep coming back for third, fourth, fifth game. And then having that series against Peterborough for that 7-game series. So the BLC group lost the first few games. And now we're in a position of, okay, maybe we should try something different. Who's someone that we can put in a role that could maybe change the dynamic of the offense, that could help us score some goals, or just, try something different other than what we've been doing, because it hasn't been working. So Clancy, again, helps me out with my career so much recently. I can't thank him enough. Says, Ed, we believe in you. We want you to come up. Please help our team. We want to win the series. And we end up winning the next 2 games, tying the series. The third game coming in, winning that again, forcing a game 7 against a team as talented as Peterborough. That was a big accomplishment for the program, but also showcasing that we can play at the level of the Peterborough and Six Nations teams that are so dominant over the years.
Right. Now, I love what Gavin Prout has done to rebuild that team to some of the years of yesteryear, like the 2000, 2001 teams, and to actually put that hope that, there is a Mann Cup maybe in that group, and to play for the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey, which is different and the way it should be.
Yeah. Gavin, just based off of his own personal career, he knows the game inside and out. His intelligence for lacrosse is undeniable. So now to put him in a position, now he's a GM of a program, being the GM of the senior B team and the A team, he's able to build a chemistry from introducing guys to senior B, getting them to develop, train, learn the game, how it plays at the next level, and then building that kind of ladder system, that feeding system into the majors. And rebuilding is never an easy process, like a 1-year thing. This is going to be a multi-year series. And we're hoping that next year, getting into 2026 summer season, that maybe it's us in there for the Ontario finals, and keep working towards the goal, and maybe not fall short to Peterborough like we did this past year.
Right. No, I have good faith by just looking at the group. And again, I think Brady Kiernan getting hurt was a big blow. Excuse me. Also to it with his big injury over, and I think it was game 4, something like that, and that. That's a big piece that's not in the lineup. Let's talk a bit about ALL. I love the ALL. I have been part of that since about 2018, 19, around the time you got in there, and doing media and stuff like that. But such a need for it, and keeping sticks in guys' hands through the winter. I think something like 30 or 35 guys have gone to the NLL because they're ready, because of the NLL, practice squad guys, but also guys who are learning the craft. It teaches guys to be professional, stay professional, and once they make it up, they don't come back. Talk about your thoughts about the ALL in general, then we'll start getting a little bit more into your exploits in there.
The ALL is such a critical league, not only for a position of getting players developed, ready to go to make that transition to the NLL, but for lacrosse in general. Lacrosse is a summer sport here in Canada, especially with winter and hockey interfering with all the wintertime activities. Yeah. So having opportunities to play during the winter months, when normally players would have to sit that out or find other ways of playing lacrosse, is a huge advantage. And I'm so thankful now for the last few years that there's a league like that. for players to not only play summer ball but also have an ability to play winter ball as well, which kind of makes lacrosse a year-round game rather than the seasonal game that it has been in the past.
Right. Let's talk a bit about your journey in there. You got drafted by Toronto in 2018, started playing 2019. You hit the ground running. You adjusted in there really well and have always put up decent numbers all through. You're with Oswego now, but through the years, your name is constantly on the score sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a bit about working with some of the coaches in there and some of the guys that you've been playing with over the years.
Blaine McCulley was the one who got me over to the Toronto Monarchs for my first year there. I didn't know too much about the league because it was just starting out, how serious it was, the caliber of players. So for me, just stepping into an ALL role, when you hear it's the feeder league to the NLL, you kind of unsure what kind of skill level it's going to be, if it's going to be as talented as it is, or is it just kind of another men's league out there. So stepping into the role and then recognizing and seeing the names and the talent that's in the league, you really have to step up in order to maintain your own spot.
Right.
I've been in the league for almost 7-8 years now, if you skip over COVID.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of great talent, names, everybody going through this program, that it's not just like a men's league. You got to be able to compete. You got to put numbers on the board. You got to make a difference out there, because there's several other players that are looking to have an opportunity that you have. So if you're not on the game sheet, if you're not making a difference in the game, you could potentially be released or sent somewhere else, or no longer have the ability to play lacrosse in the wintertime. It's always a battle in the ALL.
Right. How do you see this league that it's increased and improved over the years that you've been in it?
Oh, it's like every league. It takes some time to find where the weaknesses is, where the strengths are, and kind of focusing more towards the strengths. With the league being established now for so many years, we're really kind of focusing on the development of the players and getting them into the NLL structure, especially giving players that are at the level capable of playing in the NLL, but just too young or need a little bit more experience to still have the ability to play lacrosse, rather than sit in the stands or just rely on the NLL practices to make sure they're in shape. So as players have graduated into the NLL, moving through teams, players have been coming down, I think the league, the country, is now seeing that this is a viable league, that if I put my time into, my energy, my talent, this could be a legitimate chance to have that opportunity at the next level. So as the years have been going by, the skill level, the speed dramatically improved every year, and it continues to get better.
Now, I brought this idea up with a few of the guys in the NLL, and they seem to like it. I don't know if it's a viable idea. Maybe you being in it would see it a different way, of it being kind of like the AHL in hockey, and each of the NLL teams, we almost have enough teams now with a couple more expansions, and put it up to 14 instead of 12. Each team would have its own team. That way you can keep hold of your draft picks, your own coaching staff, teach systems, instead of you playing for Rochester this week, come back and you're now playing for Oswego this next week, and then the week after you're going to play for Toronto, and having to learn different systems and continue. This way you could stay with one and go up through the systems. If you're not with somebody, you could get with somebody and you get a better chance maybe of being noticed. Make sense?
It makes really good sense. I mean, there's pros and cons to every system. Some of the pros that I think of is that these NLL teams, they have their structure, they have their plays, they have the defensive sets. Mm-hmm. And to make that transition halfway through the season, you're getting handed a playbook and you got to learn everything within maybe a week or two before your first game.
Yep.
So potentially, if a team was organization attached, the ALL and the NLL, then maybe both teams could share somewhat of the same systems, where if you do get that jump, if you do get that opportunity, you already know kind of the style of play, the systems, so that you can organically make that transition.
Right. Yeah. Right. Let's move forward to the Gales. How did you get involved with Doug Louie and the Green Gales? And of course, then we're going to discuss about your first envisions of what Prague was all about?
I mean, Prague is something I've always wanted to go to. Just I didn't know who to talk to.
Mhm.
So every year, beginning of senior ball, everybody's coming back from Prague saying how amazing it was, and I'm just like, oh, I missed it again this year. I wonder how I do this. Doug Louie was at an ALL lacrosse game at Children's Arena, and he was just talking to me, and I somehow Prague was mentioned, and I was like, oh, I would love to go to Prague. And he's like, yeah, you're invited. We'd love to have you. And within a couple of weeks, I paid my money, joined the team, got put in the group chat, and I was on my way.
Right. So let's go a little further now. You get into Raritan. What are your first impressions of walking down a street, in a residential street, people walking dogs, kids going to school, and here is this rink.
Mhm.
And as soon as you walk in, here is this mecca of European lacrosse.
Yeah. So, I mean, my first time over there, obviously, I have no idea what kind of the environment's going to be like, the people of the city. So you kind of just resort to maybe what you see on TV of what kind of Europe's about.
Mhm.
And you never really know until you land and step foot walking through the streets. And then the guys who have had the experience of playing there before are all talking about their memories from years prior, the Coliseum that it is with the no roof, playing outside, and the environment that it is. And you're sitting here like, I've been part of a lot of lacrosse games with a few hundred people at maybe 1,000 people at like a high end.
Mhm.
And you're like, there's no way a team in Raritan, Prague is producing these kind of numbers for fans. And you get put in this Coliseum, and next thing you know, everybody in town, people are training in from outside of town, and there ends up being hundreds of people there, if not 1,000 during that championship game. You got kids running around asking what your opinion is on this, that, and this for lacrosse. They want to learn from you. They want to develop from you. School projects running around asking like where you would shoot on a goalie. It's a whole new experience. I fell in love with it instantly, and I told Doug like I'm coming back next year. Within the first day of being there, I was like, this is something I want to continue doing.
Right. One of the things that really tugs on my heartstrings is the Friday when you guys do the clinics with the little
Mhm.
kids, and here's kids running around with their favorite jerseys and stuff that they have warmed from you guys over the time, and some equipment fits, some doesn't fit, doesn't really matter, but you guys are taking the time of all the teams and going through, and doesn't matter that English is not spoken language, is lacrosse, and everybody gets into it, everybody has a great time, and to me that's the highlight of this whole thing. Then we have the playoffs and the championship, but this is to me really the crown jewel of it all.
It continues the trend of lacrosse, of growing it. Everybody that plays the game has the responsibility to spread awareness and to teach the next generation and to continue to have this game grow, and the success that it's been having over the years with continuing to have more and more players, more and more leagues, more and more teams. The players that are influential at the NLL guys, anybody that has the opportunity to coach minors, it has to give back in some sort of way. So having a town in Raritan host a clinic where they're bringing in schools, like local kids teams, like very minor. We're talking about like 9-year-olds up to very established high school lacrosse players. And you can see when you go there, it's just a mixture of, I know that this was a Green Gales helmet 4 years ago that was just given to this 12-year-old that he's probably been using for the last 4 years. And it's not just the Green Gales, it's every team that's coming out of there. I've seen a few Victoria jerseys, some gloves, equipment, and sticks.
Yep.
And then you go out there and have a clinic. And although English is not their first language, a lot of them understand it quite well. And if the people that don't, they have translators.
Right.
I coach myself for the last 8 years to the younger generation. I love this. I stepped in. I wanted to do something immediately. I ran my own shooting clinic on the corner and try to teach as much as I possibly could in the short time that they gave us.
Right. You also were the benefactor of probably the greatest chirp that I ever heard.
No.
Calling you maple syrup, I still talk about that. I can't. That was the greatest chirp I'd ever heard. And the look on your face coming back to the bench, you just called me maple syrup.
Yeah. I mean, like, you're kind of accustomed to the local chirps that they have here in Ontario or North America, at least. You hear them all the time, kind of under their breath, kind of say it to your face, whatnot. And then you go overseas and you get introduced to a whole new set of ways to play your mind games with you. And I heard it, and I was kind of like set back. I'm like, what do I say to this? Like, how do I respond? And I'm just so confused heading to the bench that I wanted to share what happened, and I just announced it out to the team. And now it's been an ongoing conversation, a little joke amongst the players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Doug, you're correct. Rescue is probably the best lax tournament around, period. And
No, actually, I stole a couple cups.
I give them away as gifts as well.
Oh, yeah. And for those who have known that LLC tournament, the Memorial Tournament there, the after lacrosse activities, the cups, the festivals that they have, the players coming together, that's the real bonding moment of the tournament. It's not just the lacrosse. It's everything after lacrosse as well.
The other thing that I noticed over the years that I've been going now is watching European lacrosse really take steps forward and really become a force. Some of the teams, we're talking about Raditon, but, you're looking at places like Finland, places like Poland that get better and better and better every time I see them. I've had a good relationship with the commissioner out there of NBLL. They have an 80-game season now. They have an all-star game. They have Czech TV that they do. So there's a lot of things going on. It's, I think, 3 or 4 different countries where it's in now, and they can join it. Does that sound like something interesting for you to dip your toe in?
I don't know how you do your research, Gary, but things that you shouldn't know somehow. So I've been recently approached to try out for the Ottawa Bears lacrosse. So if the CBA gets negotiated, figured out, then I have the opportunity to go to their camp and practice, play amongst them, hopefully get my opportunity. But if that doesn't work out, then a team in the NBLL has reached out to me, and their playoffs are here in November. And they invited me to come out and play for their playoff series because they don't have the same rules. You can kind of sneak in guys last minute before the final tournament. But yeah, that's been a conversation, and it's kind of up in the air whether I go or not, just based off of how the NLL climate is right now.
Right.
But either way, I'm very excited for either opportunity, whether it's here in North America or somewhere in Europe.
Right. I want to talk a bit about your coaching. You've done with RLX lacrosse. You've done a few other things over the years. Is that where you want to wind up when everything's said and done, and you do finally hang up the stick?
Oh, I haven't really thought of it too far. I think I just been taking it year by year. Programs have asked me to come out and help out. Being someone that spent my first 15 years, 16 years of playing lacrosse for an organization that kind of relied on volunteers, parents, I'm kind of indebted and appreciate them. So when a team asks me, say, hey, we don't have a coach, or hey, we want to your expertise, what you've done in lacrosse, to be given back, I'm kind of a sucker to that invitation. So I did the Edge lacrosse coming out of university for a few years. And then I went over to the Red Blacks because it was a little easier drive for me for where I live. And now my own high school, my own Armada, has reached out to me and asked if I could do their high school program. So it's something that I never really envisioned doing long-term, but it seems like that's the direction. Obviously, I just want to volunteer and give back as much as I can.
Right. When fans hear the name Eddie Renaud, what do you hope that they remember?
Oh, well, if there's fans.
There will be. Don't you despair. There is already, so they're not going anywhere.
I mean, everybody that has supported me over my career, I can name a whole bunch. I could take up the next 15 minutes for everybody that I'm indebted to that gave me the opportunity to be even on this podcast here. That's a long list. So for them, I just would like to play the highest level that I can play lacrosse and hopefully inspire some people from the younger generation that, hey, maybe you didn't join the NLL right out of school. Maybe you didn't go to a top Division I school or have some fancy name, or maybe you spent 3 or 4, 5, 6 years in the ALL. You can still make that jump to the higher level. And it's a dream of mine to make that higher level. Whether it's a possibility or not, I'm always battling for it. But in order for everybody that's helped me, my dream, I guess, would be to have them, say, hey, I was a part of this journey. And I know that Ed gave everything he possibly could to play at the highest level, gave everything he had, always worked hard, did his contribution to the team, was a team player. Just what everybody else would like to be when they're playing the game is just an influence on the next generation, people that to continue playing the game.
Absolutely. If you could give advice to a young player who's up and coming and wants to do NCAA, ALL, NLL, what would you do? What would you give?
It is no better time to get into lacrosse than right now. It is growing dramatically. The skill level is getting there. It doesn't take much to get started. There are so many people and resources, even here in Ontario, the OLA, programs, coaching staffs, that if you do have ambition to play at higher levels, there's so many people that want to see you there, want to get it there because they too had people that helped them get to that level and they want to get back. But it's also to grow the game. Right. Lacrosse is still a very small community. We all want it to be much larger, right? The CBA being example of that, with the players and the teams negotiating what the future of lacrosse could be. Right now, I would love to have, similar to the other professional sports with having multiple cities, multiple programs, the ability to make lacrosse a full-time sport, dedication full-time, not having to have a side hustle or side job in order to play.
Right.
And I feel like right now with lacrosse, the way that it's going, for these younger generations, if they start, when they get to the age where they could potentially play in the NLL, NCAA, who knows where lacrosse could be? It could be similar to what hockey was 30 years ago, with about to take off into now at the 32 league season, 13 teams. Like, it's unbelievable. The opportunities that they had is something I wish I had when I was their age. You never knew what was going to happen. Even if there was a team in your local town, will there be a team next year? Right. Now it's pretty solidified. So follow the dreams, follow the game, get your stick in your hand. You're going to love it. Yeah.
You're so true with that too. Because when I interviewed Nick Sakavitz a number of years ago, what he had brought to the table was that we're roughly where the NHL was in about 75, 76. Had the TV deals in place, but just hadn't had the explosion yet. And come Olympic time, I think that's when it hits from floor 3, 4, 5 to penthouse.
Yeah, I'm getting a little. I'm older, if not towards the end of my career. So anybody in high school or NCAA right now, if not in minor lacrosse, you never know when that boom is really going to happen. And to put yourself in a position to be part of that boom, to be part of the league, part of the community, part of the sport when that happens, I feel like that's going to be something that they're going to cherish forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Shawn, you have any questions for Eddie?
Just a quick one here. Kind of going back to your roots. You sound like kind of that classic story of, playing lacrosse and hockey. And we hear so many stories about, the great hockey players who've also played lacrosse and kind of vice versa as well. Can you maybe talk about maybe how those kind of skills maybe transferred over, or maybe if that hockey experience helped you with your lacrosse career?
Yeah, I think for every lacrosse player back when I was playing was, what do you do in the wintertime? It's a summer sport. And it just so happened that hockey and lacrosse kind of have very good mirror image seasons of each other, where during the summer months, lacrosse is full time. You play your seasons, play your tournaments, you get to go provincials, and then maybe you have a week or two off, and then hockey season starts. So hockey was very much just to keep me in shape, keep me going for the next lacrosse season. And the sports, although different, have very similarities. The same as like every other sport, like NBA and box lacrosse, they have a lot of same format for the pick and rolls, the X's and O's. Hockey has the same aggression, the speed skills, the playing the body rather than the puck sort of thing. So, I mean, any sport that you play just outside of lacrosse is going to help you with lacrosse. So I'm always an advocate of play as much as you can. For me, my path was I wanted to play lacrosse, and then I wanted something to do in the wintertime, waiting until lacrosse season started. So it was like lacrosse, then hockey.
Right.
That's
Mike?
perfect. He said.
Sorry, Mike, any questions for Eddie?
Yeah. Well, first of all, best of luck with the Black Bears tryout. And what do you think your best strength is going to be bringing to the tryout, and what are you most looking to improve in your own game?
For me, I think my greatest strength is my malleability. Like I like to think of myself as not a one-dimensional player in the sense of my job throughout my career has never been just goal scoring. It's never been just the setup guy. It's never been just the enforcer. I've had to step into roles all across the offensive side of the floor. And I think my experience in that is if whatever the Ottawa Bears need me to be, if it needs me to be someone at practice that just gets the boys going and work harder, then I'm happy to do that. If I'm fortunate enough to get a game, if it needs me to set up space for other players, I'm happy to do that as well. If they say, hey, go shoot the ball, get some goals. If I get that green light, I would love to shoot the ball and get some goals, If they want me just to be more of a playmaker, move the ball, pass the ball, I feel like I can do that as well. So I think my strength is that I have multiple different strengths rather than just one-dimensional. This is my role. I go hit guys, or I go score goals, or I make plays. I feel like I have experience throughout my career where I've kind of stepped in the role of each one of those positions, and they've kind of prepared me for this opportunity.
Right. I like that you're going to Ottawa because it's kind of a more comfortable situation for you because Shawn's there, Dan McRae's there, guys that you know and guys that you have grown up playing for and with, so that it's a little bit more comfortable scenario as you get into the training camp and all the rest of that. So I look forward to big things coming from you because I know we can never measure the heart of a guy, but if we did, it'd be humongous. I love watching you. I've loved watching your game over the last number of years, and I really think that you'd be a good fit there. So I really appreciate you taking the time talking with us about all the aspects from time from little right on up to where we are now. And I wish nothing but huge success for you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm so happy to be on the show. I'm so happy you were able to be here and talk and answer the questions. Sometimes not everybody gets the opportunity to tell their story. There's so many great stories out there. I'm just really grateful that you gave me an opportunity to tell mine.
Absolutely. You'll keep us up to date with what's going on, right?
I'm always at the rink, Harry. Whenever you're there, come over say hi.
All right. I'll let you go. You go enjoy the Jays game, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, everybody. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay. Thank you.
That was Eddie Renaud. A great guy. A great guy. Really epitomizes what the lacrosse community is all about. Works hard, is a great team guy, great skill, and, will do anything to make his team better, make players around him better, make kids better. That's why I love this group, the community, so much, is because of guys like Eddie and a whole host of them. Like if you were on the plane with the Gales going to Prague, you had a whole plane load of guys like that. And that's why that team gets along so well. I mean, not win every game, doesn't matter. But boy, when you want to take what the real essence of the game is, It's guys like him, guys like the guys that he plays with, and that's why this game is going to grow. Even though we get in front of ourselves at times, the game will always move forward because we have guys like him. All right, we had a trade this week in OJLL, and this one is a doozy. I shake my head every time I look at it because we'll just have a look at this. From Toronto to Kitchener goes Liam Bucknell, Hamish McPherson, Hunter Lumnecki, Aaron Eberhardt, which are huge. But you take a look at, Kitchener's mortgaged the future to win now. So I know Doug well, GM Kitchener. I was with him when we were on the board together in Brampton. And this is, what he did there and got them into the Minto Cup a number of times. Over to the beaches goes Joe Columbus, Braden Mitchell, Brennan Marino. Now you take a look at a first-round pick in 2026, first-round pick 2027, first-round pick 2028, first-round pick 2030, first-round pick 2031, second-round pick 2026, second-round pick 2027, second-round pick 2028, and a second-round pick in 2030. Wow. If that's not what you would call a blockbuster, I really don't know what you call a blockbuster. That's stunning, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you pretty much have no more draft picks till 2030.
2031.
So your chips are all in at this point.
Absolutely. Whatever's word. Absolutely. Yeah. Role players win championships. Doug, I always say that if you listen to me week in, week out, character wins championships. And that's exactly what you have with that. A character player. And he can do anything. And if they need him to be aggressive, he will be. If they need him to set up and roll, set picks and rolls, he'll do that. If you need him to be the quarterback, he'll do that. If you need him to score, he'll find a way to do that as well. Great hands. If you look at the ALL, always on the score sheet. Absolutely. Now let's continue along here. We're looking at the CBA, and it's in for ratification. All signs are positive from what everybody is hearing, all the insiders and things like that. Now, Adam Levy put out a couple of things here that are interesting of some of the differences in it. It's a 5-year agreement with an opt-out option before year 4 or 5, depending on certain broadcasting and marketing figures, depending on the average team revenue. Salary cap goes up to $810,000 to $885,000 for the 2029-2030 season. After being franchise tagged 3 seasons in a row by the same team, the salary may rise to $70,000 by agreement. Now, I don't know anybody who's been franchised 3 seasons to this point, but anything's possible, I guess. Travel per diem, missed work, health insurance, and housing reimbursements are not included in the cap. So those are some interesting things that are in the CBA, just to show it's not just we want more money, we want more. There's a number of different things spinning around there, but everything that is being jimmied around and chivied around seems as though as early as Tuesday we can get ratification to this and get our season moving, which gives them just enough time to get everything going. So what I thought we would do this time around, Doug, it's come a long way from the 10,000 they used to get, right? So maybe this is going to become a full-time gig at some point, sooner rather than later. But I thought we would look at, since there is a pile of unrestricted free agents, thought we just have a look and see, team by team. Some have more than others, and some of them are pretty shocking that they're on the list there. You look at it. I will bring Buffalo up first, and the Asterisks are have turned down the franchise tag, I believe. So, Matt Mintz, Kyle Buchanan, Nick Weiss, Matt Banger, Kyle Matisse, Paul Dawson, Chris Cluche, Chase Fraser, Justin Martin, Bryce Sweeting. Half of your championship team. are unrestricted free agents. Sugar has his hands full, though I don't think it's going to take too much to convince them all to come back. Thoughts, guys? Some interesting names on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just say it seems kind of odd for anyone to decline a franchise tag when you've won 3 cups in a row with that team.
Yeah.
I just
I mean, maybe that's just a fan perspective, but I mean, if I would think if I've been on the floor and won 3 cups and they said, "Hey, franchise tag," it means you'll be around next year. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll happily try for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that idea totally, but guys are looking out for themselves long term as well.
Oh yeah.
And no, sorry, it means they can reject the franchise tag, right? They have the ability to reject it. Let's move forward. We have Calgary with Curtis Dixon, Jesse King, John Lentz, Nick Rose, and Reese Callies. Not terrible, but that is the core of scoring there. So some work is to be done there. Looking at Colorado, Robert Hope, Damon Edwards, Tim Edwards, Jordan Gillis, and Dan Taylor. A couple that are I'm not sure if they'll be back, and a couple I think they have to be back if Colorado wants to contend. Thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, Calgary. I mean, I would hope after previous years and public discussions about not wanting to be franchise tagged that they won't be offering a franchise tag to Curtis Dixon. We know Nick Rose is likely headed back east. I'm not sure what the situation is with Lintz, but I mean, we've talked about it plenty on the show before. That he's firmly entrenched, in the coaching realm, out in Alberta.
Yeah.
Thoroughly involved in that. So, whether he decides to continue his playing career or not, might be a question mark. It seems like the smartest move for Mike Board to make, the GM, is to just franchise Reese Callies, unless there's some plan to, put him in a deal, in some sort of a trade or something.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be having the same boat. I mean, you look at those two teams. I think Calgary, like you mentioned, Gary, has the most work to do. You see that core, especially like you said, Curtis Dixon's probably that biggest name that stands out, and never know quite where he stands with that franchise, considering the past.
I don't think Buffalo's going to get rid of him, Doug. I'm sorry. The new and improved. Brian, great to have you with us.
Right.
Is Rosie going back to Toronto? I would say that's almost a done deal.
Yeah.
Almost a done deal. And for those of you playing the home game, yes, it is 4-0 Jays.
Oof.
Yep.
It's not over.
No.
Until that
Not by any means.
7 out happens, my pacemaker is still I need my heart pills usually around the 70 when they start pulling pitchers and things like that and bullpen. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Moving further along to keep my mind off of baseball. Georgia. Here's an interesting one. We have Miles Thompson, Jeremy Thompson, Jordan McIntosh, Joey Capito, John Rannigan, Angus Goodleaf, Brendan Bombery, Liam Burns, Seth Oakes. That is huge. Huge. When you're taking a look, that's the core of the team. Other than Lyle.
And a lot of guys who can reject the franchise tag too. A lot of guys.
Right. Do I think Joey Capito will be back? I don't really think he did much for them last year, to tell you the truth. But, Brendan Bombery, Jordan McIntosh, your captain. Miles Thompson, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't resign there because, well, he just got back. So
Using his Seth Oaks, that could be
we know how
Yeah.
valuable that is. Just ask Georgia 2 years ago in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Halifax doesn't have near as many issues, just Warren Hill, but that is a big piece to your puzzle as well, right? So, don't worry, Shawn. We'll get to them. David Brock, Brendan Goodwin, Casey Jackson, Jake Saunders, Tor Reinhold. Nothing dire here. If
Well, I
nobody
find that
comes
interesting
back there,
because
I don't really think that would be affecting what they're trying to do there, since they're trying to reinvent a reinvention.
well, that's why I scratch my head at is because that's where it's interesting because we know theirs or dongs are kind of trying to go in a different direction. I hate to use the word rebuild, but that's where these free agents could be of interest, where they might not be back just because it's going to be a different looking team.
Yeah, Mike, you think?
Yeah, I mean, with Vegas, I got to think they're hoping they can at least get Jackson and Saunders back.
Yeah,
at the very least. I mean,
I was thinking probably Reinhold too.
Well, there's still viable pieces, and Tor's
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Reinhold.
I don't think it would be the end of the world if he didn't come back, though.
I don't think so. I think Reinhold still has some good years. I get Brock's, he's getting up there in age, but he's got the experience, but he's already kind of been talked out of retirement. I think not once, but twice already.
Right.
So,
yeah.
He kind of almost falls into that, Ryan Benesh category. Like, is he
You are
playing?
100% correct, Doug. 100% correct. Dogs need a goalie. Yeah. Well, not Damoud.
No.
Damoud is part of the Philadelphia experience, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and the only other thing I guess I'll add is, for as much as we talked about how Georgia last year or the last year and the year before had very little turnover.
Yeah.
We almost kind of were so focused on the lack of turnover that we didn't think about in the long term that's going to turn into a large amount of turnover at some point.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of the same. It's almost kind of the opposite. We've talked about Buffalo, despite their run and, 3 championships in a row, there's always been that question. They're getting older. There's no turnover. Same thing's going to happen to Buffalo eventually. So,
well, they have a number of people on their list, but I just think that right now that they have a really enticing thing to re-sign them is Forpeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But they go as Matt Vince goes right now, though they have some great goalies down the pipe. So we have to wait and see on that. Moving further ahead, Oshawa got Callan Crawford, who's retired, Ethan O'Connor. Big piece, but again, I don't see that being a determining factor in what they're trying to do there now. Ottawa, this is big too. Eric Fennell and Riley O'Connor, 2 mass pieces for that puzzle. So, what do you think, Mike? What do you think?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see them.
I don't see them going anywhere, really.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. I mean,
with new owners, with new front office and everything like that, and Dan McRae there doing all the stuff. I don't see them going anywhere. I see them hanging out to see where they're going and how they're going to get there. May not be long term.
And let's not forget that Dan McRae has playing experience with Riley, and then Doug's exactly right. Had playing experience, in Riley's rookie season in Calgary. So,
right.
And I think it's well established, that's one of the first guys that, when the team was in New York, when they got Jeff Teat, after the first season, who do you want us to get in here? And he said, I want Riley O'Connor in here.
Yeah.
Playing on my side with me. So.
All right, let's move on to Philadelphia. And this is a lot. And this is really franchise changing if they don't get certain pieces back. Mitch Jones, Joe Resetarits. Disnew's been offered the franchise tag. He hasn't said anything yet. Chris Corbeil. Caputo. Does he get a bigger role if he comes back? Anthony Malcolm, Ryan Wagner, Shane Simpson. Again, a number of pieces that they've worked on. And does it work? I'm not sure. It hasn't to this point. But if you lose Resetarits and Jones, does it really matter? Then you need offense as well as defense, and you're back to expansion team. It's a very fragile little event there right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting list. I think Jones is one you definitely have to try to get signed up again. I'm a little bit maybe on the fence with Resetarits. I don't get me wrong, great player, but maybe it's a time to get a little bit younger with once again with this Philadelphia team. So maybe it is time to move on from him.
Paul Day definitely overpaid for old guys, and I think he the Disnew and Corbeil thing and the first round pick that came back to Toronto, you can see that already is paying dividends for Toronto. Could Halifax go after Rose? I think they would rather have Hill myself and go after him, and of course they already have another one in the pipe too, right? So
in Hutchison,
Hutchison as well, yeah.
So I don't think that would serve Rose's purpose of what he would want to do. I think he would want to come to Toronto if he was going to not be the number one and be coaching as well as mentoring and doing the bulk of the play to start, and then slowly change that over. But we'll see. We'll see.
Can we put up that Philly list again real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like I almost feel I got to agree with Shawn here. I think if you don't get both Jones and Resetarits back, you need to go after all of these other guys, and you're going to need to pretty much I don't want to say rebuild the team, but you're going to need to almost shift the mentality to, hey, we need to be like one of the top transition teams in the league, especially with Anthony Malcolm, Ryan Wagner, and Shane Simpson.
Right.
Let's not forget they also have Mike McCannell. They have Scott Dominey. So they got Isaiah Davis Allen. They've got a lot of great transition players on that team.
Yeah.
That they might need to just kind of become a transition team.
Well, it's about the only thing they haven't tried yet. They've tried to be a bruising team. That didn't work. They've tried to be a scoring team. That didn't work. They've tried to be a defensive team, and that didn't work. So I guess transition is the only one left before we just kind of go, bonjour. Anyway, let's move forward. The Nighthawks. Interesting on this list too, right? Dan Coates, Curtis Knight, Ian Lord, Brad Gillies, Brandon Slade, Turner Evans. Now, Brandon Slade really hasn't. He's been injured the entire time he's been there, so I don't think he's played a game for them. But if he does, he certainly will be an added addition transitionally. Turner Evans, I don't see him going anywhere. Brad Gillies as well has been there for the long haul. Ian Lord might call it a career at this stage. But, there's so much talent there that maybe they just want to hang out one more year. Dan Coates has been immeasurable for the veteran leadership that he brings. Same thing with Curtis Knight when he's healthy. So I think Dan Carey may have his work cut out for him, but I think he's got a pretty enticing opportunity for these folks to hang out and stick around. Don't forget Brad McCulley is also a free agent right now and hoping to be re-signed by Rochester. There's so much talent there. It's an abundance. And in all aspects, they've hit, and it's taken a couple of years to get there, but they hit all the leaks in the dam, so to speak. They didn't have any transition. Now they got plenty of transition. They didn't have a depth of defense. Now they have a depth there. They didn't have certain pieces to the scoring. They have pukuns of scoring. And you take a look in the goaltending, and you have 2 bona fide NLL goaltenders, and they're both healthy at the moment.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I don't think there's much movement that Rochester really needs to do. I mean, just kind of repeating what Gary said, we see the talent they've already brought in, and they can just add on to it with what they've had, or they can move on. Either way, I think they're set up nicely.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Pat, welcome. Only the yeah. Oh yeah. That was cryptic. Yeah, well, yeah, he turned out to be a great GM, is correct. And you take a look at what he started with, and if you remember the opening years for Rochester, boy oh boy, to where he is now. Well, it's a possibility, but what will they give up for him? Because don't think Molosky's not going to ask for the whole farm, because that is the future. Well, we have the left and we have the right, and we'll see. I thought Paul Day was on to something with when had about 11 or 12 Peterborough guys after they'd won 4-man cups, and you already had the camaraderie, you already had the know-how and all the other things. It just didn't work. And injuries had a part to play with that. Different things that just didn't work in different times. And it was never just one thing, because then you could fix it. But, you start fixing this and this wheel fell off. Then you put this wheel back on, and then the hood jumped open. Then you put that down, and then the back trunk, fell off the car. It was always something different. And it's almost like you're being snake bit, because every single time you tried to fix something else went wrong. So nothing's easy in this thing. And, I think that the best move that Paul Day did was get out from behind the bench, because I never, and there's a bunch of guys there that are GM coaches, and I never, ever liked the idea, because in one sense, you are the guy, you can do it. I believe in you. And then it's time you come to money, and I'm the same guy, and I'm telling you, well, you're no good, man. I'm not going to pay you that kind of money. You're no good. But I want you to do everything for me on the floor, because you're the greatest. When do you look at it and go BS? Yeah. So, let's keep separate windows. It's like Jamie in Toronto. You want to be the owner? You want to be the GM? How about hiring a bona fide GM and work from there? Like when Terry was still alive and he did the GMing, and you were the assistant, learning. Remember, Terry taught Jamie everything he knows. Terry didn't teach Jamie everything that Terry knew. Right? That only took years and years and years and years. Right? So interesting little things there.
Yeah, well, it's funny though, because that seems to be trending the wrong way. I mean,
it is, because they're trying to save money.
I mean, 14 teams, and how many coaches are also GMs? You got Glenn Clark, you got Dan McRae now, right?
Yeah.
You've got
Derek Keenan, Kurt Molosky.
Yep. Patrick Merrill.
Sean Williams.
Yep. So what's that, 6 we're
6.
up to?
That's half the league right there.
Yeah.
So, and then, no, not Sawyer, because Jamie's the GM,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
But Sawyer is the assistant GM. So, he's got a lot of input. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And it's cost-saving measures, so let's hope that we can get away from that. I just think that we should be keeping those things separate, because we need to have clear messages. Buffalo, no, except for one thing though. Chugger is the defensive coach and the GM, but Tavares is still the guy.
Well, and that's kind of the difference in Saskatchewan too, right? Is like Derek's just a co-head coach. Like he can lean back on Jimmy.
Yeah, and does more and more now.
Yeah.
If you notice, more and more, it's about Jimmy more than Derek, and press conferences and dealing with things so that Derek can deal with the GM things, and he is just an extra voice on the bench, a voice of reason at times. So, all right, let's keep moving. San Diego, Rubish, Holding, and Benesh. I'm not sure about Benesh coming back. If he went into the sunset, I think he's had a career that's worthy of the Hall of Fame. Holding and Rubish, I think, still have some time there. Rubish is coming to the end of it too, but he's still a big part of that defense. Thoughts, Mike?
I mean, I was going to say Holding. I think Holding's kind of a must because he's, ever since he's been there, he's been an in-market guy.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
That's been a huge.
We have people that
beyond huge for San Diego. Just reaching out to the fans and grassroots and all that stuff.
That's what I was going to hit on. Yeah, and he does so much more than just on the floor for the organization.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing about Benesh and Rubish, right? Like you said, Rubish is a big part, but at the same point, how many more years do you have with them?
Right. And they're both from here, Ontario. So
yeah,
a long trek, 5-6 hours both ways once a week. Eventually they're going to say enough. They have young families and, they're going to want to spend time watching their kids grow up. Saskatchewan only has one, and that's Adam J. And a big piece, but I really don't think that's going to be an issue.
No.
Over there. And, Groob's in the Hall of Fame is definitely correct.
Oh, yeah.
His entire career. But I think, again, he is so much more as a multifaceted thing. So much more than just a player. He is so responsible for the development of the youth, which in turn develops your fan base for years to come. So in many, many aspects is he part of it. Now for the big one, the Toronto Rock. And there's some names here that just, Schreiber, I think, is a foregone conclusion that he's not coming back. Now, I may be surprised. I will be surprised if he does. But just from all the writing on the wall and all the things I had heard last year outside of things, then I just don't think that he is going to be returning. But anything is possible. Corey Small, from St. Catharines, pretty close. So if he wants to keep playing, I'm pretty sure he will find a way. And he still has a need on this team. Brad Cree, I think, is stalwart on the defense as long as he can fit it into his fireman's career, which is now budding. It's about being able to fit both in, and we know how much trouble rookies have as firemen to play full seasons. So, Hostrauser, do they have more muscle on the team? Yeah, you got Elijah Gash, so it's not a necessity. But Hostrauser has been more of a playmaker over the last couple of years, transitioning away from being the enforcer. So it's possible. Dan Craig, I think, is the odd man out in all this because, he wasn't used much last year, even though he was healthy for most of the year. And when he was there, he wasn't one of his better years. Is he still viable? Damn right he is. A big player who can do an awful lot of agile things.
But he'll be competing with Small and CJ Kirst, among others.
Let's not forget Chris Boucher, Josh Dawick, Owen Hiltz. There's a number of up and coming things. And Toronto wants to flip over what we just went through last year. And what's the best way to flip it all over? Is change it all up. And there's still a lot of firepower there. Though the thing that is, again, the goaltending situation. Until you have that one, you always build from the back out. Well, if the back's not settled, where are we? It looks like well, young family. He does have the injury from the PLL, but it looks like he wants to do field and do the Kieran McCardle thing, right? So Danny Craig's feisty, but he didn't have a whole lot of feist in him last year. A little bit due to injury and a little bit due to really not being in the lineup much. And when he was, one of his moves is diving from behind the net. We had Chris Boucher doing it, and he's Josh Stolwick doing it. So how many guys can you get diving from behind the net? One ball. 3 guys back there. Got nobody out front.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really matter because they don't put anybody inside the restraining line anyways, right? So, we don't have to worry about stuff like that. Guys in front. Yeah, so it is what it is, right? All right, that leaves us with but one team to look at, and it's got a fairly long list. And sorry, and that is Vancouver. And look at this, folks. Kevin Crowley, Ryan Dilks, Tyler Garrison, Keegan Ball, Riley Lowen, Brett Mitski, all veterans, all can refuse the tag. But some, I think, need to be back. Some, I would say most need to be back. We're really looking at this.
Yeah.
From
Regardless, just looking at what Molosky's building, if you were them, I'd have a hard time not re-signing. I mean, I think this team is trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to sign most of those guys back.
Yeah, and let's not forget that almost everyone on that list, I think, is a BC guy. So
True, yeah.
And that was kind of one of the, big things. Even before Molosky came in, with Chris Gill and Dan Richardson were trying to bring back hometown guys.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It's been an ongoing mission for the franchise to get local players back into town. I get the sense that with most or all of those guys on that list being BC guys, they're going to want to stick around if they can.
Right.
Yeah, I guess more the question mark to me is looking at Kevin Crowley, and again, kind of a similar situation to what you have in San Diego is, how much more time do you have with him? Could this be it for him as well?
Right.
Yeah. Same could apply to Mitski as well. I mean,
yeah.
Mitski's what? 13,
Yeah, 2 people I don't expect.
now.
Mitski and Crowley are the ones that are the odd men out. They've already had storied careers, and it might be time to look at doing more of the coaching than doing the playing. Yeah, well, I don't think he ever fit in at San Diego, really. I don't think they really had what set him apart in Philadelphia was he was the guy. What set him apart in New England was he was the guy. In Toronto, he got lost because he wasn't the guy, and it was only for half a year. And San Diego, the same thing. Not being the guy was what kind of blended him in as just a sea of talent. And in Vancouver, he was the guy again. And at least for a good chunk of it till the other guys have come up now. So now his work is done. He can relax on this. Yeah. Yep. And you're never going to find a nicer guy either. And you're never going to find a guy who's going to do more and keep the shirt off his back. But it's about time now for the next, guys got to come off the bus for guys to get on the bus. And this might be that right time where things are, after a couple of years of the Molosky system and Bob McMahon's system, that things are in the right direction and you can slot pieces in now that he doesn't have to be that guy. So we'll see. But that's interesting. It all, of course, depends on if they ratify Monday or Tuesday, like is supposedly going to happen. So let's, cross your toes, cross your fingers, cross your arms, cross your legs, whatever you're going to cross, do it now. Keep it there. And let's see that we can't get a CBA that's good for the next 5 years. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff. And let's really push us past the Olympics and then see where we sit from there. And that's really where we sit now. Next week, we will have Quinn McLaughlin back on the show discussing some of the exploits he's had. And he's done a whole lot of touring all over the U.S., as we heard he was going to be doing. So he's got a whole bunch of stories and really setting some pretty amazing numbers in some of these tournaments and a few MVP things. He's got a wheelbarrow full of championships and MVPs and things like that coming into his own. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to be talking to him next week on Thursday's show with the NLL Lacrosse Talk. Last week's show was amazing. Doug Favell on the show and talking about a couple of records that will never be broken. One is that winning the Minto and winning the Calder Cup at the same year. Well, they can't do that now. They overlap. And if your other contract's void, who's going to throw millions of hockey dollars away? Right. And, of course, the other one we're talking about was the 3 goals in 11 seconds in the Minto Cup playing for the Gales as one of the pickups going west. And that was an amazing story because Gaylor Palace, being the centerman, was the reason for that. And his amazing passing ability to catch a very, very speedy Doug Favell to be able to score from different spots. So 2 records in every. The other one was, of course, that he was a part of 2 expansion drafts and selected. One from out of Boston to Philadelphia in '69, and the other was out of Colorado to Edmonton in '79, and that's where he called it a career. So that one's up on the YouTube page. You might want to have a listen to that. It was a lot of fun. He was a prankster back then. He's still, even at 80, he's still got lots of life in him. Golfing with another friend of mine, Larry Lloyd. So imagine the stories on that golf 18 holes excursion. But this week is John Fusco, another storied Hall of Famer from the Brooklyn program. I believe he had 2 Minto Cups and 5 Man Cups with him. So be interesting to sit down and talk with him this week. And that'll be Thursday at 4 p.m. So just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Thread. We are on YouTube as well as the Streampunk Entertainment Network at www.streampunkentertainment.com. Please visit us 3, 4, 5 times a day because the news is always changing. Have a look because the CBA thing, yay or nay, will be up there with us as soon as we have word. And that will be early in the week. Let's hope. Again, everything is crossed. So we're going to be right on the money on that. So please make sure to keep it. We are your Costco Lacrosse. We are your one-stop shop, always with our fingers on the pulse of the situation. It is our pleasure and our privilege to give you all of the information as quickly as possible, as accurately as possible to you. That brings us over to last words. Shawn, let's bring last words over to you.
Yeah, kind of what we're talking about. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a new CBA. Let's hope it gets ratified because I think we're all just kind of chomping at the bit to get the season going again.
Absolutely. I will take a look for you, Doug. I will see if I can get him on the show if he is still around. Mike, last words to you.
Yeah, I'll echo Shawn's statement. I mean, just fingers crossed, and that we get something. Some the good news keeps coming this week.
Yeah,
that's we'll start the season on time.
Absolutely. I am optimistic. I really, really like what I'm hearing from the people. For those of you keeping score, thank you, Shawn. 5-0 Jays.
Yeah, Laddie just hit a homer.
Good chunk. There you go.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of folk. Now that bullpen move really is large, isn't it? Anyways, let's keep going with what we're talking. Get me off my train of thought. Well, that's
lacrosse show, right?
But yeah, I am optimistic. I've heard so many good things this week about things like that, and they're all really, really coming along. So yeah. Let's let's hope that this is the week where we get everything rolling, and then we talk about free agency next weekend and some of the moves and things like that. And I think once that gets set, and that will be free agency at the end of the week, and then you'll get a flurry because you only have a couple of weeks till training camps and preseason games. Let's hope we don't lose any of that either. But, let's get the whole flavor of everything. And for those of you in Oshawa, I will be at the game on the 28th of November for the Rock in Oshawa for the inaugural game. So have a look. If you see me, say hi. I would love to chat with you. Anyways, that brings us to the end of another week. I really want to thank Eddie Renaud for taking the time and being on the show with us. It was great talking with him, great catching up with him since the summer. And it was great talking with everybody about all the, I love talking about the UFAs and things like that. It makes me believe we're closer and closer to that season. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. And thank you for all your input. We really appreciate that as well, as always. Anyways, for Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, and for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks. Remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher, and until we meet again next week, have a great week, everybody. Take care.